This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 549 for April 30th, 2018. Eat, Pray, Shapeshift.
Still talking about it.
Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpeer.
Hello.
For those of you that are at the $5 or more Patreon level, the latest episode of TVGP's Old Dog New Flicks is out right now. The second episode. Pleased to say that it is for the incredibly fantastic cult hit, Starship Troopers.
Yeah, and that episode was kind of a blast, both watching the film and actually recording the pre-show and post-show. Terrible jokes, hilariously bad puns.
Would you like to know more?
Yes, I would.
I'm doing my part.
Yes.
It's such a good movie, and it's a really, as someone who isn't on Old Dog New Flicks, it's a really good episode. And I will promote yet again the $5 tier on Patreon. It has a ton of really great content that you're going to get there way earlier than a lot of the other feeds. You know, Old Dog New Flicks will be on a 3-month delay for the free tier. So wait another month and you get episode 1, which is Ladyhawk.
And I genuinely speaking, I do hate to recycle jokes, but I have to make this joke here because I love it so much and I'm so proud of myself and I can't help but rub it in my own face. Patronage guarantees citizenship.
Yeah.
Because I came up with it. It's like the last line of the show.
It's too good.
It was too good to not use here as well.
Yeah. So patreon.com/E1M1, go get it, go listen. You get your own personalized audio RSS feed. Pop that in your podcatcher. Listen to all the stuff, including Outcast. You know, all the dumb stuff that happens before this show.
Yep.
And before we go live streaming, which, because I screwed up, was a lot of time this week. All right, well, let's dive right into it. Moonpeer, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, unfortunately this week I have had literally very little time, what with seeing a 3-hour movie and grocery shopping and 6 days of work with 4 12-hour shifts included in there. 400
hours of work this week.
I think I mentioned it in Discord, I clocked up 40 by, Wednesday.
Yeah, that's real bad.
It was ridiculous. But I did play a little odds and sods along the way. I did start Shovel Knight. The new Game Club game. I started it and is it going for SNES?
So there's a really great post-mortem on Gama Sutra from some of the lead developers of it. They're basically going for the NES game that you remember in your head.
Yeah,
where it's like the NES couldn't actually do some of these effects or like some of these colors.
Yeah, because that's what I remember is that's why I knew it was that one and Rogue Knight, I think, or Rogue Legacy is the other one that came out around at the same time. I remember hearing somewhere that there was a huge breakdown of the actual developers saying this is what we do that the NES couldn't do.
Yeah, it's on Gama Sutra. It's a really great article. It's not super technical if people aren't technically minded, but yeah, they basically wanted to go for like the NES game that your brain remembers. It's like, oh yeah, the NES, and you look at the NES, it's sort of like, maybe it couldn't do all that, but it looks real good and real faithful.
Yeah, and I mean the music is fantastic. I think I'm not really that far in. I'm at the point where I've got to go see Plague Knight or some other night. I've got to figure out which castle I'm going to try and take on.
It's Plague Knight and King Knight, I think, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point where I'm choosing between one of those two to go and fight because other doors or other paths are locked. And it's got that Super Mario World style map.
It's a really good map.
Yeah. Also, there's something about a giant frog in water. I don't know.
Oh, the Tuple King?
Yes.
His little song. I don't know what he does. I don't remember.
Whatever that's about is fine by me. So yeah, like I said, I haven't played a whole lot. I'm both loving it and hating it at the same time because the downwards shovel attack, it's very difficult to do on a stick.
Oh, yeah. I went D-pad only for that one.
I might have to switch out. Like, I hate using the D-pad. In fact, most of the times I will refuse to because it's the PlayStation 4 controller issues where when my thumbs are down...
Right. Get a little cramping going on.
My hands cramp within about 30 minutes, and then I'm just going to walk around like the claw monster for like an hour until I can actually start playing games again.
Yeah.
But no, it looks amazing. It's really good so far. We'll see how I feel about it come the third weekend of May. It is May, isn't it?
Yes. Third Saturday of May.
Yes, there we go. So yeah, Shovel Knight. On the NES theme, thanks to the Indie Gamer Chick account, I am part of the pre-release test for a game called Booty Diver, which is an incredible name.
Yes.
And it's... I'm trying to figure out a way to describe this. It's a diver who's at the top of the screen. You have to go to the bottom of the screen to get a chest and bring that up to the anchor at the top of the screen to escape with the looty booty.
Okay. The looty booty.
Yes. But in the process of doing so, you've got fish you've got to attack you that can hurt you. It's that very NES style. It's in the bottom left-hand corner. You've just got a number of hearts. You've got a score. You've got a time limit for your oxygen, and you've got probably a life count as well. Mm-hmm. It's a super simple game. It's literally go down, get the chest, go up. You can fire harpoons and kill things, or you can do a little stabby stab with a knife. The art style is very, very simple, but really crisp and clean. It's, to be honest...
I'm watching the trailer right now. It does look simplistic, but kind of in the way that you want it to, where it's like there's no real confusion about what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like a platformer arcade sort of thing.
Yeah, and so far it seems very much an arcade style game because once you're out of lives, you start the game over again. At least that I've seen.
Yeah, it's only $3 on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
That's a steal.
I fought a giant squid boss. It was kind of cool.
Yeah,
the music's okay. The sound effects are very, very NES, as in loud and obnoxious.
Right.
But you can switch all that stuff on and off. Like, to be honest, like, this has been the game that, like I said, I've come home from a 12-hour shift this week, sat down and just loaded it up. I just played a little bit, maybe 20, 30 minutes, just shooting some fish with my harpoons, grabbing my chest, get back to the surface. No real point. I'm not achievement hunting. I'm not doing anything like that. It's not a story I'm interested in. It's just being a game that I can come play it without having to think, without having to tax my already overtired and overworked brain. I can just come home, do it, play it for a little bit and get going. I actually spoke to the devs a little bit on Twitter about it as well and likened... I don't know if you can see it there, but if you could pull up the artwork for it, like the box art, it is probably one of my favourite box arts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because it's a NES box art, except this is an Xbox Entertainment System on it, because I'm playing the Xbox version. And it's got the whole diagonal slash across it with the game pictures on the top and the information on the bottom.
Right.
It's really well done, and I think it gets a bunch of rep from me just for having a really well designed box art.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's one of those games where if you're into that kind of game, that old school NES, arcadey style of game, it might be the game for you. If you're into something deeper and you're not looking for like a quick hit, then that's fine. You don't have to play it, you don't have to buy it. I'm actually having a pretty good time, and yes, for the record, I did get a code for it. But it's been, I think it hit at the perfect time for me as I don't have to think, because I don't want to come home from a 12-hour shift and do an Isaac run.
Right.
It's not, Isaac is not that kind of game,
Just want to do some booty diving.
Exactly. Yeah, Booty Diver. I'm interested to see how much further they go with it, see what else is in the game when it actually gets a release on the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously I've got the Xbox version, not the Steam version, so I don't know if the tests I'm getting from them is basically just a bug feedback test to see if there's any issues with the Xbox version so far. But
right.
The game's fun. Very small doses, very quick. Jump in, jump out, done and dusted. And so one of the positives about being a digital game is you can just go boop and you're playing it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Played PUBG. My wife she's not taking a break from, but she doesn't want to burn herself out on Dead by Daylight.
That makes sense.
Because she put, I think, about 80 hours into that game over the course of like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she took a bit of a break from that, and then me, Charlie, Kat, and Jess all ended up playing PUBG. And literally just goofing off, like not taking it seriously, not trying to win, not trying to do anything in particular.
No SEAL Team 6.
No, it was more like SEAL Team Party, where we were just Charlie and Jess were running through the forest, and me and Kat found vehicles, and they refused to get in the vehicles with us because we were being a bit doofus. So we just started doing a Mad Max, driving around them in circles, beeping our horns, trying to get everybody's attention to make sure that, you know, they were killed, even though we're on the same squad.
Yeah.
I think that ended, the vehicle shenanigans ended with both of us, her in a dune buggy and me in a motorbike, jumping off a cliff into water. So,
real Thelma and Louise style.
Exactly. So it was, to be honest, it was just a bit of fun. I haven't played the game in a while. The updates seem to be doing that game a world of good. Like, it runs a lot crisper, it runs a lot smoother.
Oh, good.
I know they now have the test server on the Xbox version as well.
Oh, good.
Which is where if you own the game, you can download the test server version, load that up instead, and that's got like it's got the new map on it, which will be coming to the main game at some point. Right. But they're treating it very much the way they treated the PC release, where it's test server for stuff going into the game. Keep in mind, nothing there is permanent. It will come over to the main game eventually. The other thing I did do was excuse me. I did a little bit of Lego Marvel Avengers because having gone to see a Marvel movie, I felt that itch.
I want more.
Well, I mean, we came home from Infinity War and we immediately watched Doctor Strange.
Right.
Because Jess wanted to give Doctor Strange another chance because, as we were discussing pre-show, she hated the movie originally. Yeah. So
we talked a lot about Marvel in the pre-show, so go listen or watch that.
So we watched Doctor Strange, and then she went to bed, and I watched Thor Ragnarok. And then I started playing Lego Marvel Avengers because I have it, and I'm at 78.9% now in a Lego game, which tells you I'm getting real close to the end of it.
Yeah.
So again, I'm probably not going to get the one you've got, if I'm completely honest, because from everything you've said, it's a void.
Honestly, I think if you want to blow through maybe the main story of that and just kind of call it done at that point, it's fine. But I'd say under $30 is probably where you're looking for the sweet spot there. You spend, 10, 15 hours going through those missions, and then you kind of call it a day.
Yeah, but you look who you're talking to.
I know. I was really worried by the time I got to the end of that. I was like, I didn't super enjoy that, and I don't know if I feel like going for 100%. And then I looked at all the games in my pile that I haven't played, and I was like, I should play something else.
Yeah, I'm probably definitely not going to go that route. I do have the Lego Star Wars game, the one that came out with
Force Awakens.
Yes,
that one's pretty good. I got 100% in that, and that was good.
Yeah, so
a lot of content in there that was not the Force Awakens, though.
Yeah, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, it does redo the original 6 again, doesn't it?
No, it sort of starts at the end of oh god, Star Wars Episode 6. The name that I always forget. It's not Last Jedi. That one just came out.
The Return of the Jedi?
Yes, thank you. Oh my god. It's my least favorite movie out of all of them, so I never remember the title.
Okay, I can get that. How is Episode 1 not your least favorite movie of them all? I don't know. Episode
1 is fine. I think history has fairly derided those movies, but it does have those speeder chases, like the pod races, which are really cool looking.
They really are kind of good.
That's about it.
I will defend episode 3. I will not.
Episode 3, I think it's good. So tangent. Episode 3, I think, would have been really great if it was just Obi-Wan does research.
Yeah,
for whole like a whole movie thing. Yeah,
instead of that whole go to that planet, get the whole. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
not the younglings.
Not the younglings is better than I don't like sand.
Yeah, it's really good.
Anyway.
So don't go play Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. Is the real
lesson to be taken away from this.
But the Force Awakens I thought was pretty good. I like Star Wars a lot, so it has a lot of that, like the Lego Marvel Superheroes 1 did, where when you open up, you finish all the main stories and you're just going through and collecting all the side missions and stuff. A lot of that stuff is really fun, and it's really referential to, the first 7 Star Wars movies, and I dig that a lot. I'm a sucker for that stuff.
I'm the same though, to be honest. So I'll probably enjoy that a lot. I mean, it happened in Lego Marvel Superheroes 1, the one I'm playing, where I went to the Sokovia Hub world, and I think her name is Betty, the waitress, who is the waitress from the first Avengers movie, who Captain America saves. And then you see her on the news later being like, he just came in and he had a shield and he was so good and so helpful. Yeah. She's in Sokovia in Lego format, opening a new coffee shop.
That's good.
Based on the New York franchise.
That's like the deepest of deep cuts.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like, this is one of the reasons I love the Lego games, is stuff like that. And then I just love the achievements. Like,
they're all good.
The amount of thought they put into those achievements is actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, but yes, anyway. My final game this week is pretty much Far Cry 5. I hit a wall with this game, to be completely honest. I jumped in, I played a whole bunch, I cleared out a whole bunch of stuff, but I've had the problem for a couple of weeks where I'm not really in the mood for this kind of game right now.
Yeah, and it's not, like, groundbreaking, so it's not really pulling you back into it.
Yeah, it ain't the one game you're going to talk about this week kind of game.
What?
But, I mean, it's still... I mean, like I said, I think I said it last week, it's Far Cry. It does the Far Cry things well. The combat, the engagements, the being able to play it how you want to play it. You want to run a gun, that's fine. I still hate the planes. I have a 50 caliber gun now, and I still hate the planes. I have the machine gun, and I still hate the planes. I have a plane backup, and I still hate the planes. The worst thing about this game is there are things which should be minor irritations turn into huge irritations because they just keep repeating that irritation.
Yeah.
And it's like a scab. It's like a scab on your arm or something. It's like, it's a scab. Pick, bye, scab. And it's, I've got another scab. Pick, bye, scab. By the time you're done with that wound, you're just so fed up of it that you don't know what you're doing anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Far Cry. It's fun. It has those dumb moments. I did see my bear get catapulted into the sky by a glitch involving the back of a truck opening and closing. So
great.
it has the requisite open world jank, shall we say?
Yeah.
But
that's good to hear.
It's fun. I'm hoping that... Well, I know this week is going to be another hell week for me, so hopefully the week after I can hopefully get a bit more into it rather than just be jumping in for 10 minutes and be like, no, I'm pretty much done with this.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed Far Cry 5 will take me places happier. But as of right now, it's kind of not. But anyway, yes, that's all I've been playing. I didn't play a whole lot because I've been busy. Boston, tell me about your one.
My one game, Marvel Strike Force.
Ooh. What's the update like?
The big update they did recently is a Thanos raid. So basically, the thing that I actually like that the game does, it's gonna sort of be a negative and a positive, is like most gacha games I play, you have your banner of, here are the 5 characters available during this banner, and then you use something to pull off that banner, and you get a unit.
Just for clarification's sake here, because I've heard you talk about banners on this and on Pup a lot, is that essentially like the vaults in MPQ, where it's like this is an event-specific vault?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So those vaults are banners. Basically, I guess I do talk about it a lot. The definition of banner is basically like a limited time collection of characters that you then pull off of. So MPQ has the same thing where it's, you have like a Infinity War banner and it has, all those covers you can get, and you're using tokens to pull off of that banner.
Yeah.
What Strikeforce does instead of doing that is you're collecting character shards, and once you get enough of them, you can then recruit that character. So it's like, I just recruited.
Galaxy of Heroes did that as well.
Yeah, it's the exact same system.
Yeah, you could, especially in Galaxy of Heroes, you could repeat the same story mission, and it would have a percentage drop chance for those shards for that character. So if you wanted to focus on that character, you could just grind that mission until you got that character.
Yeah, and I think I'm just starting to unlock missions to do that now because they made the game significantly harder, like I talked about last week. So like today I unlocked Jessica Jones because I got 50 Jessica Jones shards. And I'm sure like they did in Galaxy Heroes, when you collect another 50 shards, you can then level up their rarity.
Yep.
Which then levels up their power and all that stuff. Right now is the Thanos raid, obviously.
Why would they do that?
Because every Marvel thing has Thanos in it right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying the 9 tokens I've got in MPQ for the release of that.
Yeah, just logging in.
Yeah.
But our alliance is just 3 members. Myself, Jai495, and Senior... I'll look it up. I wanted to give him or her a shout out. Senior Monkey. That's what I just remembered it as I was opening up Discord. Monkey Senior. Sorry. Had that backwards. The 3 of us make up our alliance. And basically, the more energy you spend in the game, just doing missions and stuff, the more raid tokens you accrue. And then use those raid tokens to start a raid that then all of the alliance members then get to join into and clear nodes and do that stuff. And the better you do in the raid, the more shards you get, and the faster you can unlock Thanos, and you can sort of see the cycle here.
What's this one? Is it? Sorry, there's so many Marvel games. Is this
Marvel Strike Force? Yes.
Okay.
Download it. Join the alliance. Boop. You see Moon downloading it live. Once you hit level 25 in the game, which should take you just a couple of days, you can join the alliance.
Oh, but Galaxy of Heroes is advertised right next to it. Should I restart my 5
No, I think you're good
on Galaxy of Heroes?
I think you're fine. But so far I've been playing this for I think 3 weeks. I'm level 43, something like that. So far I can see the grind starting to settle in, which is fine. Thankfully, so far I still don't see the grabby, greedy hands coming out where it's like money, money, money. None of that is coming out. I think if you're impatient, I think paying for character shards or paying to unlock characters probably seems like a pretty good deal. I don't make money, so I don't have that luxury. So time is on my side, and money is not. So far it's still good. I'm in the game a couple of times a day. Doing some of the PvP stuff. There's like 2 different types of PvP, both of which are really good. I'm just having fun, kind of popping in there for half an hour, maybe twice a day. When I wake up, when I go to bed. Kind of do some missions, and I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I'm also enjoying the pure chaos that is general chat that shows up at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, WWE
so there's
games all do this, where they've just got like a public chat when you're at the main menu.
It's on everything. Yeah, it's hilarious.
So wild.
So it's great because there's an alliance chat, which is pretty quiet because we don't need to like strategize or anything like that.
We have the Discord channel for that.
Yeah. There's there's a really great general channel that's just people. Right now, it's people trolling each other with fake Infinity War spoilers, and then someone will get upset at it, and then it sort of devolves from there, and it's really great. While you're just sort of grinding missions, it's watching toddlers slap fight with each other, and it's really entertaining. And then watch people try and get around the very aggressive profanity filter, which is...
That's always my favorite one, is when a game's got a really good one of them. My favorite one of that is there's someone in Galaxy of Heroes, that game has a harsh profanity filter, and it actually blocks out one of the characters' names.
That's so good.
I wish I could remember who it was, because it's a stupid Star Wars name.
Right.
And literally, you can't say their name in the chat because it just comes up with a bunch of stars.
The great thing about Strike Force is, if you say a phrase that's wrong, it will blank out your entire thing you've just posted. So someone is posting just a string of asterisks. It's like, well, that's pretty great. So yeah, Marvel Strike Force, I'm having fun. It's probably not the best mobile game I've ever played. I favor Marvel Puzzle Quest more than this, and not just because of the time investment. I think Marvel Puzzle Quest's strength is its focus. It's a much, much smaller game, but everything it does really, really well. And Strike Force is good, but it's a very big game.
Yeah.
Which is positive and negative, so... Marvel Strike Force, so far 2 thumbs up. I think it says something to the state of mobile games that I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, where it's like, congratulations, you've hit level 50. It costs you $500 to keep playing.
Yeah,
just hold a gun up to me.
You probably could have stopped. You could have taken the word mobile out of that sentence then.
That's fair.
The state of games, period.
Yep.
Oh, and the best thing is now everybody's just going to think that literally that's the only game you have to talk about because you just talked about it.
I know, and I was just trolling you because I played a lot more God of War. Oh my god.
Yeah, this seems to have overtaken your life and pretty much everybody else's life. Like, I'm seeing people in the MPQ Discord channel on our Discord talking about how they are literally only doing the dailies right now because God of War is stealing their life.
Yeah, Mackie was saying he missed a daily because of God of War. Mm-hmm. I think God of War is going to be the big surprise of 2018 for me. Just like Prey last year, where it's like, oh, not only is this game good, this is all I want to do until I have just wrung every morsel from this game.
I'm not going to lie, people talking about this makes me want to get a PS4 and a God of War collection, and then this one, and just smash through a lot of them in time for Game of the Year. Because I need this to be on my list based on what everybody is saying about it this year.
I wouldn't even play the old ones because this one is so significantly different. So, first off, before we start talking, I've finished it. No spoilers. I'm going to... I want as many people to go into it as blind as I was, where it's like, okay, it's a God of War game. He's got the axe. He's got a kid. And everyone says it's good. That was pretty much all I had seen, except for maybe one E3 trailer.
Was that the one with the big orange thing that gets squished?
I think so. Oh. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
God of War is one of those few games where it sort of... Dimebag says, hopefully spoiler cast later. I'd like to record a spoiler cast for you. I gotta find some peeps. God of War is one of those few games that so rarely comes along that is encompassing. Like, that's what you want to play, you want to finish it. Not because... I raced a little bit at the end because some people were starting to post spoilery things. Like, it started with someone... It's not a spoiler. Someone posting, boy, God of War really does the thing, doesn't it? And it's like, oh boy. Are the floodgates already opening 3 days after this game came out? But it's just because I want to consume so much of it so quickly, and I think one of the biggest reasons for me, I'm now that I've finished it, I'm starting to pull it apart from a game design standpoint. And I think one of the biggest strengths for this game is you're at any time, you're typically working on 2 or 3 puzzles at the same time, but the game never really tells you that.
Yeah.
You have a whole list of things you're working on where it's like, kill 10 trolls, and you'll get a bunch of experience at the end of it. And they do checkpoints where it's like, kill 3 or 6 and then 10, and you'll get experience for each one of those. But what's so great is whether you're doing the story missions or whether you're just exploring the area, whenever you land somewhere, there's sort of like, let's say in the Isles of Nine, where that big hub area, let's say you land at a new island. Typically there's like 4 or 5 things to do on that island, and there's one obvious thing you want to do where it's like, all right, I'm going to open up one of those non-rare chests which has like 3 runes on it, and you have to sort of scavenge the area and break a bunch of runes. Those are going to have a health upgrade or a rage upgrade or a really great talisman or like a handle for my axe. But along the same time, to get to that puzzle, you're typically solving another one so you can find all the runes. And then as you're going, you're sort of seeing 2 more where it's like, okay, well, I see this chest over here that I can't really get to because there's rocks blocking it. I'll keep that in mind while I'm going up this tiny mountain. But there's also something over here that I don't know how to get to. So I think the biggest strength of why that game keeps you so engaged is you have so many of those things happening at once.
Yeah.
But it always feels good, and it never feels like you're overwhelmed.
Yeah. It's enough to do and keep you busy, but not the whole... I can't remember what it's called. The whole Ubisoft thing of too much choice to do, so you just end up not choosing.
Yeah, and God of War handles that really well because there are 2 completion lists in the game. So basically, the one completion list, I think it's on the left, is basically how much have you done to complete the whole area that you're in. Mm-hmm. And then each individual section in that area will then have their own completion list, where it's like, one of the big achievements in the game that I'm working on right now is
the ravens? Tell me
killing
ravens.
51 ravens. I have 47 right now. And each area says, all right, you've killed Odin's ravens 1 of 4. And then all the other stuff, hidden sectors and the teleporting
in
gates,
the area, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the 2 types of chests in the area, all that sort of stuff. Realm tears, which are really, really great. They're basically these holes in the world that some of them you just sort of put your fist through and you pull an item out of. Some of them you put your fist through and they open up wide and a horde of very strong and deadly enemies come out.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and there are 18 of them in the game, I think. Or at the very least 18 sort of primary ones. And I think that's what keeps me moving through this game, and the reason why I haven't put it down is because everything in the game feels rewarding. Like every chest you open has at least something in it of value. And it's not like you open this chest and you got like a bag of dirt. Yay!
Sorry, you just reminded me of the whole Fable 2 dogs digging the reward you can more often than not get from that.
Oh yeah, where it's just like literal junk. It's like, well,
or a
great.
condom.
Oh, that's right. Where it's like, oh, this is... Thanks, guys.
Buried underground.
One of the things I do like that God of War does, you pick up these artifacts and you collect sets of artifacts. One of the things I like when you go to the basically the armor, which is the shop in the game. When you go over to the sell tab and you look at artifacts, it'll say like, oh, these are cups from the dwarven land of whatever. and it also says they have no use on your journey. And
sell them.
Everything you can sell says that on it. It's like, thank you. Because first of all, nothing in this game is missable, which, thank you. And I really love when games do that, because I never want to say, like, oh, you forgot the cluster of rocks that you picked up in the first 10 minutes. If you bring it to the mountain in this section, 40 hours later, you could have gotten the best weapon. None of that. Which is,
you don't have to dodge lightning 200 times to get the best weapon.
No, the best set of armor is interesting, though. There's this semi-randomly generated dungeon that you can only spend so much time in, and you're basically collecting currency from chests in the dungeon before you eventually die, and you can craft this auto regen armor way late in the game that you get from elements inside that dungeon, which was pretty cool. Right before we came up here to do the show, I finished. There are 8 optional bosses that are all incredibly difficult, but they give you really great rewards and a trophy at the end. And right before I came up here, I beat the 9th optional boss, which is basically beat all the 8 ones and then go to this place and open a realm tear. And the battle starts with the boss jumping out of there and slamming you into the ground, which...
Always a good start.
Yeah. That was incredibly... Each one of those optional bosses probably took me about 3 or 4 tries to get the patterns down and sort of do it relatively flawlessly.
Yeah.
That one took me probably about 20 tries this morning. Some of them were, okay, I got massacred. My kid brings me back with a resurrection stone, and I immediately get massacred. That took me probably about 30 seconds. So, thankfully finished that, and that subquest is over. I really would love to talk about the story, but I don't want to talk about anything because I don't want to spoil any of it accidentally.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped posting pictures on Twitter. At some point in the story, posting screenshots would be a spoiler because some of the visuals are different. Yeah. And I really don't want to spoil some of the game's surprises, because some of them were genuinely surprising, where it's like, oh my god, am I going to go do the thing? Like, is the game going to have me do this?
It would be the equivalent of beating Red Dead Redemption and then having that credit sequence and then posting a screenshot after that credit sequence.
Right.
Which, for anybody who's beaten Red Dead Redemption, knows exactly what I'm talking about there.
Yeah. I was really happy. Dimebag in chat says the first boss battle was the best so far. I think the last boss battle probably managed to top it, which is pretty incredible.
Isn't that so far? That seems to be the thing that I've heard that makes me think of the old God of War games the most. It starts incredible, it ends incredible, and there's a journey in between.
Yeah, what's so good though is I feel like, unlike God of War, the previous God of War games, where it sort of started really strong, and then often even the end boss battle wasn't as good as the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the first boss was great, and then they don't make the mistake that previous games did, where it's like you have 15 more bosses. Each one, I won't say how many because I don't remember, but each one you fight gets bigger and better. And then the very last boss battle is like the biggest and the best that it has to offer. All of those were great. I really liked the story. I feel like it ended on probably the strongest note it could have. And it's been a while where I haven't been disappointed in a game's story really at any point. I feel like it was the same strong game and the same strong story the entire way. And I've been having a a hard time trying to figure out how to talk about this, because I think what I've boiled it down to is that God of War is evolutionary, not revolutionary. It's not like the first time you picked up the first God of War and you're like, this is a whole new genre. Like, character action games were there before, but never to like the grandeur that God of War had done. And I feel like this new God of War takes so many elements from so many games, but manages to sort of smush them all together and do a better, the pieces of the whole thing, where the resulting thing, I don't like calling anything perfect. Certainly I don't think there is a perfect game out there. God of War, in my opinion, doesn't have anything wrong with it. I cannot find a thing that God of War does wrong, or even slightly less than great. Yeah. And I sort of can't think of a game in a long time that has done that. I know for a lot of people, Breath of the Wild was that game for them last year. Never hit the high notes for me that it did for seemingly every other podcast and publication. But I was talking to T-Bomb Rocks and I from the community. We're talking a lot on direct messages on Discord, because we were basically at the same point throughout the game at the same time. So a lot of it was like, oh my god, what just happened? Oh, are they doing... what's going on? And I think he said it best that this is really the new high watermark for character action games. Like, if you're gonna make another one of these, you really need to make it incredible, and every facet of it needs to be at the top of its game. And it's crazy to me that a team of people can make a game that's this great. Like, Prey last year was a genuine surprise, and I think Prey is an incredible, excellent, amazing game.
For me personally, it's a 10 out of 10, but it's not perfect. It's not.
Yeah. But it's not really like flawed gem status like Alpha Protocol, where it's like, yeah, it's good, but here's all the things that kind of suck. I feel like if you like games, you need to play God of War. Like, it's one of those tentpole games that I think is going to be talked about for a long time, like a Final Fantasy VII. Where it takes the genre and it just takes that next huge step and says, okay, well, here's what these games are now. You gotta catch up.
It's the Uncharted to Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Like you mentioned Revolution and Evolution, like Tomb Raider 1 was the Revolution, and then Uncharted was the evolution of that kind of thing. And now you get...
And then Tomb Raider was the evolution again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even if I didn't like this game, I would probably be going for the platinum anyway, because it's not difficulty dependent. I played the whole game on normal, and it was a really good challenge. But I want to do everything and see everything, because all of it's so good. Mm-hmm. All of it has so much voice acting that is all outstanding. It's taken me to new locations I didn't even know were there, and it's all just so good. And that's like, it's frustratingly good, where it's like, I wish everybody had a PS4 and the $60 so you could just scoop this game up and play it, because you have to.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I really do want to kind of get this on my docket to do before the end of the year. And it's only April, but the business I work for is busiest during the summer, so it's going to be a bit hit and miss for me. But yeah, this is like, hearing people talk about this, it's just like, yeah, I probably should get a PS4 at some point real soon, because I don't want to go into next year and be like, so I played God of War. Yeah, that would have been my game of the year last year. Well,
and now that both platforms have been out, there's sort of a stable of exclusives on both ends. Mm-hmm. So picking up a PS4 also gets you Nier Automata, and it gets you the Yakuza series, and it gets you Yeah, like it gets you all these
Last of Us,
Ni no Kuni, like it gets you an incredible stable of games. And T-Bomb Rocks and I were joking that like wasn't 2018 supposed to be the quiet year, but we're going to have 2 Yakuza games, Ni no Kuni, we're going to have Crackdown 3, we're going to have Monster Hunter, the new Tomb Raider game, which looks incredible. Like 2018 is already firing on all cylinders already, and we're just touching May, so we're in trouble again.
Yeah.
And like all of this is stopping me from playing Yakuza 6, which is what I originally was looking for. Like, here's my big game of the year, and it's like, all right, let's push that aside. God of War is friggin' incredible. It's like, well, 2018's biggest surprise, and so far, the game to beat in 2018.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to make sure I don't spoil anything, because I hope that anybody that's going into playing it either now or later on, I hope you can stay as unspoiled as possible. I have a feeling that as time goes on this year, more and more people are going to be talking about, the big moments in the game.
Yeah.
And I hope that the larger moments can stay unspoiled. And I'm going to do my part to not spoil them. But I would, if anyone wants to play this game and you're not playing it already, I highly encourage that if you see anyone talking about God of War, especially, I've already seen an article on Kotaku about one of the game's big moments that I somehow didn't have spoiled for me. Just don't read anything about God of War.
Yep.
There's just going to be spoilers going sort of fast and furious here. So
my favorite one I've seen is the box art redone where it just says Dad of Son instead of God of War.
It's really good.
That's my favorite so far, but I'm avoiding everything to do with it. Very similar to Infinity War, where I was just like, nope. Everything to do with Infinity War is now muted. Anything to do with God of War, I'm muting.
Just ignoring.
I kind of want to go and listen to, because the lead developer of it, like the guy in charge of the whole development, is doing the rounds right now, doing a post-mortem already. And it's like, I kind of want to go and listen to them, talk about how long it was in development, what were the issues, do the whole blood, sweat, and pixels thing with that game and that guy. But I know every conversation he's having with those people is chock full of spoilers. So
hey, what about this cool scene? Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the interesting things that this game, as my last point, I think one of the cool things that this game addresses, and one of the things that the director, Cory Barlog, has been talking about, has been the game's... What's that?
That's the guy's name.
Yeah. I always remembered it because I for the longest time, I thought it was Cory Balrog, but it's not. It's Cory Barlog.
We know how the game got made because he just huddled into a little ball in the middle of the studio and powered everybody.
Yeah. One of the things I'm happy to see him dress is how the game...
That's totally the wrong character. I know that. It was a joke. Please don't tweet me. Please don't send messages telling me it's not the right character.
How the game addresses toxic masculinity. Because a large part of the game's story, not a spoiler, is Kratos and Atreus learning how to be a family. Because they haven't had a need to before. And a large part of that is Kratos learning how to sort of drop the tough guy attitude and just be a dad and like be a compassionate human for once, instead of ripping arms off of Furies, curb stomping Odin or whatever. It's not... I feel like there's a reason why they recast the voice for Kratos, is because they needed that sympathetic range instead of just screaming to the heavens. Ares, rah!
They should have got Michael Ironside in to do him as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, I'm Kratos. I'm very angry. The rage. The rage is filling me. But I won't talk too much more about that, but I really enjoyed seeing the game address that stuff and sort of finding a way to break through that. And I think that's cool. And it's nice to see Corey talk about that in interviews about how the game does address toxic masculinity, especially since that is coinciding or coincidentally being a hot topic in society right now.
It sounds like they did what Ubisoft didn't. They have teeth, and Ubisoft
they just
didn't.
sort of went for it. It's. I'm done talking about God of War. God of War is the game to beat this year. If you need to go play it, if you're
Monster
in,
Hunter is the game to beat this year, my friend.
I feel you, but I'm really close. I think I have like 3 more trophies to go, and I'll have the platinum, which I'll probably do in the next 2 or 3 days, and then it's on to Yakuza 6. Yes,
good luck.
I'm so excited. Yeah, so I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And then this comes on the heels of, May 8th is the new Destiny DLC, which I will be playing some PvP for.
Here's my biggest question.
Okay.
Is it a case of 2018 is already off to a hot fire start, or is it a case of we're all just so old these days that time goes by so much quicker? And we used to be able to start one of these games, beat it in a week, and then be like, done.
Right.
It's April.
Oh, it only took 50 hours.
I think I've beaten 3 games this year, and 2 of them were ACA games, so that should tell you how much.
Well, and part of what I was talking about with T-Bomb Rocks is like half of it is 2018's tentpole releases so far are really good.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also picking up on like the second tier of releases from 2017 that weren't the tentpole releases from 2017, but they're also really good. And now we're finally getting to them in 2018. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, where it's like, I didn't have the time to play that last year. I played it this year, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's another game that makes me sort of grumpy and grumbly that I don't have a 4K TV.
Well, don't even worry, because 2018 will be down really soon, because Crackdown 3 is coming out. Get ready for that. Crackdown disappointment.
We were talking about that, too, where it's like, I don't want Crackdown 3 to be bad.
It's going to be.
I'm concerned that it's been in development for so long that something like Assassin's Creed Origins has eclipsed it in open world design already.
Oh yeah.
And
100%. Look at Far Cry. And AC Origins, Far Cry
did it to themselves.
I think it did I think it did it a disservice by not changing enough. It changed positively. My opinion is probably not a popular one, but I think it could do with some more redoing of the Far Cry stuff.
Yeah.
AC Origins did it perfectly. I don't know. I'm still gonna. Let's not mince words here. I will still get Crackdown day one.
Yep. I still have it pre-ordered from like 4 years ago.
Play every single second of that game. I will aim for the full game score in that game because it's Crackdown and I need to support that game.
Yep.
I am not expecting it to be even good at this point. So the lower my expectations going in, the better it is for me.
I think my expectation right now is it's going to be fine. Like, I don't anticipate it being, let's say it's probably not going to be in the top 5 for this year, but it's probably going to be on my top 10.
Yeah.
Unless it's just like a pile. But I feel like Microsoft has done so many cuts at this point that if it was really that bad, they probably would have just put it out to pasture already.
They'll scale bound it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're not really shy about that lately, so.
True.
And Crackdown isn't like it's not like they canceled a Halo game if they canceled Crackdown. You know, they're sort of like, yeah, people are excited, but it's not that great. Let's not spend the money to salvage it.
True.
So, but that's all I've been playing this week, so let's take a break. Let's talk releases for the week of April 30th, 2018, as Super Mega Baseball 2 comes out for PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
And it is Xbox Games with Gold week of release. So
that's awesome.
Yep. Major Nelson announced it on his Twitter feed, I believe. It is part of May's Games with Gold.
Great. You really liked the first one, right?
I really liked the first one a lot.
That's why I put this on the list, because I remember you really... That one sort of came out of left field.
It was a...
Dad jokes.
It was a home run of a game.
Hey-o! Sorry, this show's now done. I'm canceling us. So, go get that on Games of Gold.
Yeah, from what I understand, it is also it has online multiplayer in this one, which
the first
one didn't have. Which was the one major drawback for that was the fact that it didn't have online play.
Yeah.
So I am excited.
And the other game is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze comes out for the Switch. I have been really excited to play this because I didn't play it on the Wii U, except it's launching at $50.
Come on.
Which is... Nintendo, you're killing me because it's never going to go on sale, so I'm never going to be able to play it.
No, exactly. How Burnout Paradise, how old is that game?
I don't know. How old is that game?
10 years old.
10 years old? Hey, happy 10th birthday, Burnout Paradise.
I think it's around about 10 years old.
Yeah.
That came out remastered at $40.
The remaster is already on sale.
And the Red Faction game is about the same age, and that's going to come out at $40. You can get Darksiders 1 and 2 remastered editions for $40. And Donkey Kong Country Freeze came out like 2 years ago, and that's $50 now. That's kind of ridiculous.
That sucks. By the way, Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition is launching at $30.
Oh, it's 30, not 40. Okay.
Which is such a good price, because that game is good, but $30 helps it a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. $30 is the right price for that game, I think.
Yeah. At $30, I can say, like, yo, you should check that out.
Mm-hmm. At $50, I can say, I'm never playing Tropical Freeze, despite all of the positive things I've heard about it.
I know, it's supposed to be so good, but, like, I never bought it on the Wii U because it was always $50 or $60.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm not gonna... The Switch would be perfect, too. Like, it's a perfect... Whatever. Let's continue with Nintendo here. Talking about our news stories. Nintendo's president is set to retire with a replacement already named. President Katsumi Kimishima is going to step down from his position at the end of June. He's been here about 2.5 years, I think it is. He's being replaced by Shintaro Furukawa, who currently runs Nintendo's global marketing department.
Interesting. The guy who's the president now, he was the guy who took over when Iwata died?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think Iwata stepped down before he passed away. So there was a transition period. But the current guy is the one who ushered in Labo, Switch, a lot of their very, very popular and very profitable products lately.
Yeah.
The thing that's cool about Furukawa is he's going to be 46 when he...
Yeah, one of the youngest people ever to become president of Nintendo, I believe.
Yeah, second only to Iwata, who was 43? Yeah, 43 when he came in. So I'm sort of excited. Kimishima is going to be 68 when he retires. So I'm sort of excited for... Iwata, what I think people don't remember about Iwata is he brought a lot of energy to Nintendo that wasn't there before. I'm curious to see if the new guy is going to do that as well.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo's in a really great spot. I feel like they aren't Nintendo before Iwata, where we're sort of like, we got games. Mario, you like that guy, right?
You like the 2D Mario? Here's another 20.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm surprised he's stepping down already, but it's nice to see that they're sort of making some moves there.
I'm very curious if it was just one of those things where he was like, yeah, I'll come in, I will do this job while you want me to do it, and while you're scouting out prospective people to take.
Yeah, like keep the bus on the road.
Yeah, I'm curious if he's the one. I mean, from what I understand, he did have a good relationship with Iwata, and so does the new guy. I'm pretty sure the new guy who's coming in had a good relationship with him as well, but it could just be a case of I'm here while you what's the word?
Transition.
Yeah, while you transition and make that selection and that grooming process for the next guy to become that job, I can kind of do it in the interim because I'll be good at it, but the next guy, you can groom him to be better.
Yeah, I'll find the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And speaking of Nintendo, let's talk about our second news story here. This sounds scarier than it is when I talk just about the headline. A exploit was discovered on the Switch that's unpatchable, that makes the Switch able to be hacked. Now, that sounds like nightly news, like spyware on my Switch. It's the opposite. It's not where someone would do something bad. It's where you could, put homebrew stuff on, potentially emulators, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The reason... This is really interesting. The reason why it's unpatchable is... I was reading this Ars Technica article. It'll be in the show notes. Basically, there's a part of the chip called the boot ROM, which as soon as the chip leaves the factory, you can't touch it because it's supposed to be, the sanctified space. The exploit takes advantage of that. Basically, it overrides some USB recovery mode and code that allows you to write to that boot ROM, which normally would be protected. Which then allows you to sort of open the console up wide.
It's essentially root level access at that point.
Yeah, exactly. It's also very, very root level because they were saying one of the people who developed it said that they screwed up patching one of the switches and half of their LED screen doesn't work anymore. Just because it's so root level to the system that some stuff can go really wrong.
Yeah.
So this is pretty interesting because one, it's allegedly unpatchable. You can't just push the firmware update and sort of rewrite this. The other thing too is it seems to be driven not so much of this stuff, including this, seems to be driven not by piracy or homebrew or emulators. Those are all sort of secondary goals, especially emulators. Piracy, less so. It seems to be driven by people wanting to take their save data for their games and put that on the SD card that you put in the Switch.
So that you can save it. Yeah.
Yeah, because the biggest problem with the Switch continues to be, oh, my Switch died, I sent it off to Nintendo to repair it, they gave me a new one, so
and I don't
all of my saves are gone.
200 hours I spent in Breath of the Wild is gone.
Right, which to me is crazy that a piece of hardware, I understand that they don't necessarily have the culture, Nintendo doesn't have the culture or the infrastructure to do cloud saving. I get it.
It's not so. Come on, that's not so much about the infrastructure these days, based on how much access I could have to cloud saves.
Right,
the structure is a lot less of a concern there. It's the culture.
Right,
is the problem there.
But what's so crazy is you kick out that kickstand on the Switch, you can put an SD card in there, which a lot of people do. Buy one of those 400 gig SD cards that are always on sale on Amazon. You can use a portion of that to copy your save files. That's not a crazy idea. And the idea that the console launched without that functionality is nuts.
Yep.
So it's nice to see that people are continuing to find exploits and find holes in hardware, because I think exploration of that stuff is really important, probably especially for emulation a number of years down the line, but also for these quality of life things that didn't launch with the console. We're sort of like, really, you can't do that? That seems wrong. I feel like I'm missing a feature.
Yeah,
it's not you, it's the Switch.
Yeah. Which, speaking of which, by the way, that whole topic just inspired. If you haven't read I think it's the Time article on the Xbox Underground, go read it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That article sucked me in, and I demolished it in less than 10 minutes. I was just like, oh my, this is the best story I've ever read.
I think it was Time. Yeah, that was a great article. And by the way, we were talking about Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Jason Schreier announced that he's working on the second book.
Yep.
The sequel.
It's about. Is it going to be the same thing? I don't know.
Who knows? But I will buy it and read it day one.
Yeah.
It's so good. All right, let's move on to questions. Maximus Prime in Discord said, with a fantastic reinvention of God of War, it got me thinking. What game do you think will be transformed into something awesome but very different while maintaining the best of its foundation and spirit?
Crackdown 3?
I was actually thinking that this happened before God of War with Resident Evil 7.
Yep, Resident Evil 7 I think is the first and best example of this.
Yeah.
Where they took something that was trite and cliche and horrendously overdone, and they looked at what was popular at the time, first-person horror, survival, like running games,
found footage, scary movies,
and I think they transitioned Resident Evil into probably the best Resident Evil since 4, and I think 4 is the best Resident Evil until I played 7.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like this is going to probably sound like heresy, but I feel like Final Fantasy needs to go through this.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't tell you what the next thing that's going to do it is, because if I could predict that, I'd be in game development and be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
But the ones that need it, Final Fantasy, like you said, is top of the list for me.
Yeah, because I feel like after the 3 Final Fantasy games, one of which was arguably good, that would be 13 too, and then 15 sort of just being done with the Royal Edition. Let's sort of call it what it is. And then getting DLC for like another year. I feel like Final Fantasy sort of has to have the moment that it never really has had. Because when you look at like 6 to 7, those are similar games, but 7 just told a much more detailed story, had incredible graphics, of course, at the time, and the materia system. Like it was an evolution, but I feel like they really need that revolution that they were sort of hoping Final Fantasy 11 would be, maybe. But they need that for like the single player Final Fantasy game just to be different. Try what Final Fantasy 12 did. Like just make something that's similar, but primarily different.
Yeah. I think the Call of Duty games need to go through this. But based on the news stories coming out about the new one, it sounds like they are 100% going through this.
Yeah, with them, the big rumor is Black Ops 4 won't have story mode.
Well, correction, it won't have story mode at launch. They are working on a story mode, but basically it ain't gonna make it in time for the launch.
That's interesting. I hadn't seen that second half, because my knee-jerk reaction to Black Ops 4 not having a story mode was sort of like, okay, it seems like you could have done that a long time ago. There was a surprising number of people online that were like, yeah, but are you going to finish out the story? I was like, really? Like, no, throwing no shade to anybody. It's not like, really, you care about Call of Duty story? Like, I'm not criticizing, but that I was surprised at the sentiment, the number of people that were that invested in the story of the Black Ops games.
I think that comes from a couple of things. I mean, for me personally, I played Call of Duty for the story. I hate the multiplayer on that.
Yeah.
It's very fast-paced, very Twitch-based, and if that's your jam, great. I prefer Battlefield. I prefer slower-paced, bigger arenas, not just run around a corner with 2 shotguns that do the Terminator twirly thing and shoot someone in the face.
Right.
I prefer the bigger, open, slower arenas. But the story modes in the Call of Duty games consistently... The last one I played was Ghosts, for the record, folks. So I haven't played any Modern Warfare 3, any Black Ops 2, 3, or the new one, obviously, because it's not out yet. But I was always all about the story in them because it's a 10-hour... it's a 6 to 10-hour Michael Bay movie that you get to play. Which
you get your popcorn game.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very fun, dumb thing. And then it always has some really interesting challenges, like the playing achievement.
Right.
Like, playing it on the hardest difficulty.
The co-op modes.
Yeah. Spec Ops, in my opinion, was the best thing that Call of Duty did. Yep. I despise the zombies mode. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
But from what it sounds like, this new one is going to have the whole It's going to have the multiplayer mode. It's going to have the zombie mode. They're talking about potentially co-op mode, and the rumors are about that the story mode is coming. It's just not release. So
that's interesting.
The big thing for me is they're still going to charge $60 for it, and they are going to get away with it too, because people will pay $60 for that game.
I'm worried that they're also going to charge $20 or a season pass for the story stuff.
I'm looking forward to the
inevitable Jimquisition about.
Well, yeah, there's that. No, the scuttlebutt is as well. They're trying to figure out a way to get a battle royale mode in there, but right now they can't handle the number of players needed. So they couldn't do 100. The max they can do right now, I think, is like 16 to 32.
Oh yeah.
Which, give me a Battlefield battle royale mode and I will be happy, because you already know that game can handle it, because on PC you get 64 versus 64. On Xbox, and 32.
Map wise, it's sort of already halfway there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that still makes me laugh is the I can't remember if it's Quake or Unreal, but Call of Duty still has that core, like, Unreal or Quake.
It's the Quake engine
code in there, because that's how old that multiplayer is. It's like,
yeah, they still have fragments of the old Quake 1 multiplayer engine. Yeah,
that's hilarious to me.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like when Capcom switched out from GGPO. They switched out to their own one, and it was hot garbage, and everyone railed against them for it.
Why would you leave GGPO?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm trying to think of other type of games that need that overhaul that we're talking about.
I feel like the one I was thinking of while we were talking was Mass Effect, but I feel like they're sort of, from the outside, they're doing that with Anthem.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, that sort of seems... It seems externally maybe what they're trying.
Yeah, from what I've seen of Anthem so far, which is very, very little, it seems like kind of a hybrid between Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Obviously with a whole bunch of Destiny thrown in there as well, like, but it seems like sci-fi, but based in that more fantasy kind of style at the same time, so I'm all for that.
I'm trying to think of other big franchises that need that same... I feel like so many of them have been doing that. Like Tomb Raider probably would have been an obvious one up until the reboot, and they did a good job of evolving that genre.
Assassin's Creed did until Origins came out.
Yeah.
Far Cry does still, technically.
Yeah, Far Cry needs that, but I don't know what Far Cry would need. I feel like the biggest thing Far Cry needs is you need to chop all the fat off of that game and get back to... like the core thing that Far Cry is supposed to be. I don't know what that is, and then start building on top of that. Like that's what I feel like. That's what they did with Origins, where it's like, all right, here's the one core thing that an Assassin's Creed game needs to be or do. Now we're gonna put just a little bit of stuff on that. Not, fire the guy who kept putting 400 icons on the map. Like he's sorry, here's your severance package, but hire a person that 50 icons is too many for you.
I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, to be honest, the whole yearly franchise thing needs to go away. Enough of the FIFAs, the Maddens, everything else's.
Yeah.
Enough of them all.
Treat it more like Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Sell the core game and then just start patching the hell out of it.
A bunch of DLC.
Yep.
Granted, I haven't played it in a long time because, like I said, I'm not a huge competitive gamer anymore. Titanfall 2 was a beast of a game. It was an incredible game.
Yep.
And I don't know what's coming out this year. Battlefield, Titanfall. It's about that time.
I think Battlefield is. I don't think there's any whispers about Titanfall 3. I mean, they're probably developing something, but
yeah,
they probably have some big DLC coming out later this year, I bet. But
yeah, what else needs a reboot? Doom did a fantastic job of that.
Yeah, Doom and Wolfenstein, I feel like we're sort of on the other side of... This is a very good question, but I feel like we're sort of on the other side of a lot of these big franchise. I guess God of War is probably one of the last big ones.
I think the reason why it's such a big deal with God of War, like, people noticed it with Resident Evil and they brought it up with it, Resident Evil being essentially a reboot for the franchise. All these other ones we're talking about have been reboots before the weariness set in.
Yeah.
Whereas it feels like God of War, Resident Evil 7 and God of War are the two versions where it's like enough of the same old stuff, give us something new. And I think that's why last year Resident Evil I think people forget about it because it was a January release.
Mm-hmm.
And then God of War, it's that perfect timing, and everybody was definitely a case of enough. No more Kratos, no more screaming,
right.
No more huge rage. We don't care enough about it, and it's the fact that they've taken a franchise that I think everybody was done with. Nobody seemed to care anymore.
Yep.
We don't care about your PSP games. We don't care about your Vita games.
Well, the trailer came out at E3 for New God of War, and people were like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah,
like it was just eye rolling. It was like, "Really? Okay, well, we'll be Kratos again. He has a beard now. Hurrah!
Mm-hmm.
Great."
And then when they showed that first gameplay footage, that's when everybody's like, "Hold on a minute, hold on!" And now they've successfully made you care about a franchise that nobody cares about anymore. There's one that people need to do that for. Halo.
Yes, thanks to Musum in chat for saying Halo needs a reboot. Yeah, I'd like to see...
Oh, yeah, perfect timing.
I'd like to see Halo do something different. I'm obviously not the biggest fan of Halo, but I'd like to see them evolve that franchise. There has to be something to kind of... They're stuck between a rock and a hard place with that series, because I feel like anytime they try to break out of the mold a little bit, people start rallying and saying, well, that's not really Halo, and it's not...
Yeah.
What about my two weapons? What about this? But when they do that stuff, like with ODST, it's pretty well received. But I think they just need to break the mold in a right way. I was actually thinking... The one game from last year we also didn't mention either was Breath of the Wild. That took the Zelda, basically the entire formula for the series, and threw it out.
Yeah, and then you got the flip side of that, which is Odyssey, which has taken the entire formula of the series, similar to Origins.
Yep.
Breaking it all the way back down to basics, and then putting something new on top of it.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess it's Final Fantasy's time, huh? I think that's what we figured out was... Hey, Square, Final Fantasy 16 has to be, call it the Final Fantasy, and make it something crazy.
This is the Final Fantasy game for the rest of your life.
Yep. God, that's just Final Fantasy 15. Chino sends us an email saying, looking back at my collection, I noticed a lot of remasters and remakes through multiple consoles. Metal Gear Solid HD collection, Devil May Cry Remastered collection, Resident Evil 4... Resident Evil 4, God. Shadow of the Colossus, to name a few. What are your predictions? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just remembered. Really quick, rewind back to the previous question.
Yeah.
Fallout, Elder Scrolls games. Get them a redo.
Elder Scrolls, you can probably make another one that's fairly similar. But I feel like Fallout has to do something different.
Yeah, Fallout definitely needs to do something different. Anyway, go ahead, back. Sorry to interrupt the question.
What are your predictions or wishes for PS5 and Xbox One X2? This trend isn't going away, so what do you think will come out in the future? He puts a couple selections here, but I'll wait for us to think of some.
Well, in all honesty, if you're talking about this is about remasters and stuff coming in the future, I'm getting fed up with the quick turnaround. It's actually perfect timing. I was listening to No Quarters, friends of the show, noquarters.net, I believe it is.
Yep.
They mentioned a lot, specifically talking about Burnout Paradise. It's literally it's around about 10 years old.
Yeah.
And that got remastered. Not something that came out at the dying end of the 360's life cycle getting remastered.
Right, not something that's 3 years old, 4 years old.
Yeah. I've kind of switched my stance on the remasters, re-releases thing. I don't mind if you want to do it. If you want to put them out, that's fine. I will buy it or not buy it.
It's not really going to hurt anyone.
But make sure you wait until it's old enough. Wait until enough time has passed. And then when you do it, put effort into it. Don't just do the up-res thing. Metal Gear Solid HD Collection, I think, is one of the most underrated remasters for one reason. Because it's got Peace Walker in there, which is
with
so
a good
hard
control
to
scheme.
play. Exactly.
Yeah.
So having Peace Walker in there is great.
Some of the remasters I actually really like are basically slightly up-res collections, like the Darksiders ones we were talking about earlier. The next console generation, I can almost guarantee, will have a Prey remaster. That will be good. You know, it's like, those are the ones I really like. Burnout Paradise is an exception, I think, because it is 10 years old. It's like, all right, if you didn't have a 360, or maybe let's say you're 15 years old now, you probably weren't playing Burnout Paradise when you were 5. No. But now you're looking to check out one of the best open world racing games of all time. That makes a lot of sense. You know, Red Faction Guerrilla, the remaster, it's been long enough, and it wasn't, I feel like it wasn't a must purchase for a lot of 360 owners, so a well-received game for $30 coming back out is okay, but like, if you're going to put out like a remaster of like the Call of Duty stuff, it's sort of like...
No, you know they're going to re-put out again for the 5th generation in succession.
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Yeah, like Skyrim...
That's killing me. Literally, it's so... It gets in my head so much, the fact that Bethesda, they don't do it with any of their other games.
Yeah.
You know?
Fallout 3 hasn't come back out again.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they own Fallout 1 and 2 rights again now, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that they went free on all the stores right before the rights expired and went back to Bethesda.
Right.
As a big FU move. But we're going to see Skyrim again another 20 times with another 20 editions. And
yep. Until Elder Scrolls... The problem with Skyrim, though, is it's so good.
Yeah.
Like that, if it wasn't good, then it would be like, oh gosh, come on, like just let it go. It's not going to happen. But it's so good.
It's really good.
And it makes a lot of sense too, where they're putting it on VR. That's apparently a really good version of it. They put it on the Switch. Of course you would. That's going to be great to just lay in bed and kill some wolves for a couple hours. Like, Dimebag in chat says, "Will you gentlemen be getting Dark Souls remastered?"
There is a great example. That was something I meant to mention earlier. How long has it been since that game came out? That is a good remaster.
Yeah. It's been long enough that, you know, you've had Dark Souls 2 and 3, and you have Bloodborne. It's been long enough. I probably would have liked to see a Demon's Souls remastered, but the rights to that are so crazy that who would bother at this point? I won't be getting it because I can't. I dipped my toes into that with Demon's Souls when it came out. I was leading that charge, and I put my time in, and I feel like I came out a changed man.
Yeah. Did you get rolled off a cliff by a rock by any chance?
A number of times.
Yeah.
That's a rite of passage.
To be honest, I might pick it up if it's got the multiplayer stuff in it, and if I can time it right to actually play it with some friends. Like, I know fellow fan of the Dark Souls series, Mackie, is probably going to get it. So I'm hoping that maybe I can pick that up at the same time and do the whole joining each other's world and then actually, you know, make progress through it.
If I remember correctly, they are putting the multiplayer in, and I think they changed the network code, so it's not peer-to-peer, and I think it's now dedicated.
I hope so.
If I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that.
That was tricky.
Yeah. Chino has a couple of suggestions here. Wow, my voice is going out here quickly. Assassin's Creed Archive Collection. I feel like that's more of a punishment. Like, if you're going to say, like, the first 7 Assassin's Creed games for $60, it's like, why? Like, buy that for your enemy, maybe. Collect all the...
How much time do you have? Oh, you
collect all the banners in Assassin's Creed 1.
Those stupid flags. And that one that you couldn't get until you had the jumpy grab ability on the top of all those towers. Yes, stupid. I did 1,000 gamer score that game. I'm a madman, I admit it.
I don't remember if I did. I think because it hurt me. Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, that would be a pretty good one, but they were so poorly received that I feel like if that comes out, it would just... I feel like, number one, Square would want to do it themselves because they're crazy. And number two, I feel like that would be the final punchline at the end of the Final Fantasy 13 joke.
Yeah.
I was like, and then they remastered them.
Speaking of trilogies, Mass Effect.
You know, I was really surprised they didn't come out with that like 6 months before Andromeda came out.
I think the problem is you can't do that in a world where the whole shebang with Mass Effect 3's ending happened, and you're setting Andromeda without Shepard in it. You can't release that game before that, because
I feel like, though, the negative reviews of Andromeda would have fueled more sales of the trilogy remake, though, because it said, like, look, don't even bother buying this, go play the original trilogy.
Yeah, possibly.
As sad and sort of crappy as that might be.
Yeah. I mean, give me the Dragon Age trilogy, give me the Mass Effect trilogy in the next couple of generations, and I'll be happy.
Yeah. Let's move on to our last question here from Dimebag in Discord. Prey being as good as it is, would you have liked to see the Prey shown in the E3 trailers a few years ago?
Yes and no, if I'm honest.
Yeah. What we got was so good.
Yeah.
I sort of have a hard time thinking of a game that could be better.
I think the thing is, as well, though, is if this question suggests that we lose this Prey that we have, no.
Right, that's true.
If this question suggests that we keep the Prey we have and we get this other Prey.
Prey 2, more Preyer.
How about Prey alternates, where it's like an alternate timeline from the existing Prey that we have, and our Prey that we have led us to the road to got us to the original Prey and then the sequel that got cancelled.
Right.
Like, that kind of thing would be great.
Don't take my Prey away.
No.
Yeah.
Eat, Prey, Shapeshift.
That's right. That's right. Oh, good times. All right, that's our episode for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. All the links are on the right-hand side of the page, including Moonpeer dropping something loudly on mic. If you'd like to join us on Discord, the link is over there. Come and join our our very hopping channels over there, including Marvel Puzzle Quest, and I will have to create a Marvel Strike Force one because enough of us are playing it at this point that probably need to trade strats. TVGP's Old Dog New Flicks. Episode 2 for Starship Troopers is out now. $5 or more. Patreon.com/E1M1. You should go join it. That show is really good.
I'm really pleased with the second episode.
Yeah.
First episode was a little stumbly, I admit it. But
finding your feet.
Yeah. I really like the way this one came out.
Yeah. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitter, or Twitch, and all those places. They will let you know when we go live. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
How many titles do you have?
Like 7.
Okay. Let me create this Marvel Strike Force channel here real quick. Marvel _Strike _Force. Create channel. Hello, fellow strikers.
I was waiting for teens.
Okay, hit me with your titles.
Look at who you're talking to. I hate the planes. Boop, which we both said like 2 or 3 times over the course of the show. Boop was said in different contexts. Chock full of spoilers. I'm cancelling this show. Evolution Revolution, which again came up 3 different times.
Yeah.
And Eat, Pray, Shapeshift.
Cancelling this show and eat.pray.shapeshift.
With an E, not an A. With an E, not an A.
Yes. Eat, pray, shapeshift. How did we not think of that when it came out? I have... I wrote this wrong. Odds and Sods. The Looty Booty. More Like SEAL Team Party, which I think we've already had a SEAL Team title, so we can't do that one.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of SEAL teams.
The one I vote for, which is a little different, is I Still Hate the Planes. Because what you actually kept saying is, I still hate the planes.
I hate the planes, I still hate the planes, I still hate the planes, I still hate the planes.
Yep. Boop, I'm canceling the show, and Eat, Pray, Shapeshift.
I still hate the planes is good, but I'm kind of torn between that and Eat, Pray, Shapeshift.
I feel like Eat, Pray, Shapeshift is really good. I'm going to circle that one. That's an unpassable, unvetoable one.
Why did that not occur to us when we were all playing that game?
I don't know. I was also thinking while we were talking about like, you know how bad video game advertisements were in the 90s? That I'm surprised if we had that game come out in the 90s, it would have been like Pray for Salvation, Prey.
Yeah.
It's something dumb. Like a one of the Typhon jumping out of this television. Okay, let's get started here in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 549 for April 30th, 2018. Eat, Pray, Shapeshift.
Still talking about it.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. We'll see you here same time next week.
Bye-bye, chat.
Bye,
I'm
Louise.
waving to the chat, not Louise.
Bye. All right, and we're done.